everyone, in today's video, I'm going to be taking two different tests to find out whether or not I have schizophrenia. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the Living Well with Schizophrenia channel. If you're new here, my name is Lauren and I make videos about what it's like to live with schizoaffective disorder or schizophrenia. And if you would like to see more videos from us, make sure to subscribe to our channel. And also, if you would like to help support the creation of videos like this one, make sure to check out the link to our Patreon page. Through Patreon, we're also offering access to our private Discord server where we provide peer support through text channels, as well as voice and video messaging and video groups. So if that's something that interests you, make sure to check out our Patreon. All right, so I have schizoaffective disorder, and a lot of people have been asking me to, film a video taking a typical schizophrenia test because these seem to be very popular among people. They like to, find out if they have attributes in line with schizophrenia, I guess. So I am going to be taking these tests, but I just want to say that the main reason why I'm doing this video is just as kind of a PSA against self-diagnosis. I think it's very compelling to look to the internet for these kind of diagnostic tests, but that's the thing. These tests are not accurately diagnostic. They're not, proper diagnostic methods or models. And so maybe it's helpful to take these tests to see if there are things that you should be bringing up with your doctor or your psychiatrist if you have one, and kind of discussing with them some of the symptoms that came to your attention through taking this test. In that regard, it might be useful. But please, please, please do not go and look up one of these tests, take it, and it tells you have schizophrenia and you go on thinking that you have schizophrenia, because it's just not an accurate way to diagnose yourself. It takes a skilled clinician oftentimes several years to make an accurate diagnosis of schizophrenia. And, I was misdiagnosed for about 3 years or so. And that, that's not an uncommon experience. So it takes a very long time, usually, to obtain a correct or accurate diagnosis. And so thinking that you can just take a quick 2-minute test off the internet is probably not true. All right, so with that little disclaimer out of the way, I guess you can kind of watch this video as a bit more of like a reaction to taking one of these tests, because I know I have schizophrenia. Well, I have schizoaffective disorder, but schizoaffective disorder is a combination of schizophrenia and a mood disorder. For me, it's bipolar. So I know that I'm going to have some of the things that this test talks about. So this video is kind of more me reacting to this test, and I'm going to answer the questions as if I was not taking my medications, or as if I was answering it before I was being treated for schizophrenia. All right, so the first test that I'm going to take is from Psych Central. It is titled Quiz, Do I Have Symptoms of Schizophrenia? So I appreciate that they do a little disclaimer in terms of do I have symptoms of schizophrenia rather than being do I have schizophrenia? Okay, so it says answer the questions below honestly based on how you currently feel or have felt in the past month. So I'm not going to answer it like that. I'm going to answer it based on how I feel when I'm off medications. So I believe that others control what I think and feel. I would say quite a lot when I'm not medicated. I hear or see things that others do not hear or see. Quite a lot. It's primarily voices when I'm off medication that I'm hearing that other people don't, but it's also some perception stuff that I know is not necessarily what other people are experiencing. I feel it is very difficult for me to express myself in words that others can understand. I would say moderately. Sometimes I really, really struggle with this, and it's very hard for me to communicate with other people, especially when I'm in the throes of psychosis, but I can also still function at a level that isn't too alarming for other people, that they don't necessarily completely know that I'm struggling. I feel I share absolutely nothing in common with others, including my friends and family. That's not really something that I experience when I'm feeling psychotic, so I'm going to say not at all. I believe in more than one thing about reality and the world around me that nobody else seems to believe in. I would say moderately. I get very wrapped up in, simulation narratives and whatnot. And I believe that, we are kind of living in like a Big Brother state, or at least I am, where there are cameras on me all the time and where the police are looking for me and out to get me and I'm being surveilled or, stuff like that. Feel like people are watching me. And that's, I guess, something that nobody else really believes in. Others don't believe me when I tell them the things I see or hear. I don't really tell other people what I'm seeing or hearing. It took a very long time to reach that level of comfort with Rob, my partner. And I still don't tell him everything that I see or hear that I know isn't real. So I don't really have that problem of others not believing me. So I guess I'm going to say not at all. I can't trust what I'm thinking because I don't know if it's real or not. Yes, all the time. Definitely. I have magical powers that nobody else has or can explain. I would say just a little. I think oftentimes I feel like I can control things that are happening or sometimes other people with my mind, or I believe that I'm capable of doing things that maybe I wouldn't otherwise think I am capable of doing. So I would say just a little in terms of believing that I have magical powers that nobody else has. So Rob just reminded me about an embarrassing thing that when I am, having psychotic symptoms, I 110% believe that I can will things to happen during board games. We play a lot of board games, especially in the winter. And, I'm remembering back to this last winter where I was trying to explain to Rob, no, really, like I can control what's happening right now. And I just willed that to happen. And, even talking about this right now, I'm still like a little bit convinced that I have that power. So do what you will with that. Others are plotting to get me. Yes, quite a lot. Well, actually, all the time. I find it difficult to get a hold of my thoughts. Quite a lot, I would say. I feel very, very scattered a lot of the time when I'm feeling psychotic. But then some of the time, I feel like I'm thinking very, very clearly, even if I maybe am not, because it's like delusional thought that I'm engaging in. So quite a lot, I find it hard to get a hold of my thoughts. I am treated unfairly because others are jealous of my special abilities. That's not really something that I experience, so I'm going to say not at all. And I talk to another person or other people inside my head that nobody else can hear. Yes, quite a lot. I usually don't verbally talk back, like out loud, but I definitely converse within my head. And when I'm alone, sometimes I'll converse out loud when I know that nobody else is around and can hear me, essentially talking to myself. Okay, shall we find out the results? Get results. Your results. Early schizophrenia. So what does that mean? Oh, I guess that's kind of the most severe thing you can get. So you can get no schizophrenia, possibility of early schizophrenia, or early schizophrenia. So according to this test, I have schizophrenia. Okay. Now, again, just a quick disclaimer that if I were taking this test before I had sought treatment and gotten a diagnosis, this might be providing things that I can bring to my doctor to talk about and let them know that these are some of the symptoms that I'm experiencing. So could be used as a helpful tool in that regard. All right, so the second test that I'm going to take is from an organization or a website called Diagnostics, and they are less good about saying, hey, find out if you have symptoms. They literally say, find out if you have schizophrenia. So, okay, let's find out if I have schizophrenia. Start test. Oh, here we go. Okay, so by clicking I agree below, you acknowledge that this is not a diagnostic instrument and is only to be used by you if you're 18 years or older. Okay, great. You agree that this application is for information purposes and is not intended to replace a consultation with your doctor or a mental health professional. Cannot drive that home enough. Take the information you learn from these tests and bring it to your doctor. Okay, sure, I agree. So indicate the extent to which you agree or disagree with each of the following statements. Other people are unable to see or hear things that I can. I would say yes, agree. This is again when I'm off medication. Sometimes I am not able to speak at all. Agree. There are quite a few times, I don't know if this is called alexithymia. I read about this before, where you have an inability to communicate your thoughts and feelings with other people. And that is definitely something that I experience quite strongly and prominently when I am experiencing psychosis. A lot of times I just completely retreat, recede within myself, and just don't communicate. I have a diagnosis for something which I have been told may alter my behavior. Okay, so if I'm answering this before I was diagnosed with schizophrenia, I would say disagree. Organizing and getting on with my work can be very difficult. I agree. So, we're going to do a video about schizophrenia and its effects on employment and work and whatnot. But, I have found it very, very difficult in the past to maintain regular employment and to work my way through schooling, because it is very, very difficult to organize and, function in a work setting and work environment. And so that is definitely something that I find very difficult when I am experiencing psychosis. I believe I have powers that regular people do not have. So I kind of answered this in the last test. So I would say agree. When I speak, the words come out wrong or not how I intend, or people tell me I'm not making sense. I would agree with this. It doesn't happen super regularly, but actually not too long ago, I wasn't off my medication, but I was experiencing symptoms a little bit. And I was talking to Rob and I kept switching words around. And it would just come out of my mouth, and I had no intention of saying it like that, but it would just come out that way. And then I would think that I said it right, or I would stop and be like, well, okay, that's not what I meant. Or Rob would be like, that doesn't make sense. And so, that's obviously a lesser example because I was on medication and I was relatively stable, but that's just an example of symptoms coming out. And so when I'm not medicated, that comes out even more. So agree. I hear conversations between people that others cannot hear. Well, not real people, but yes, I would agree. Sometimes in my head, I can hear other people talking or whispering about me so quietly that others don't notice. Yes, agree. Not only is it voices, but sometimes I will believe that I'm hearing like real people around me talking about me. And, it's a little self-involved, when I reflect on it, that I think that everyone around me is talking about me or observing me or looking at me or making fun of me. It's very self-centered. So that's maybe something to reflect more on in therapy. But that is definitely something that happens when I am in psychosis, because I just get very paranoid about everything around me and the people around me. And I just feel like everyone is watching me or making fun of me or out to get me. So sometimes I feel that others may intend to harm me or are planning to harm me. It's usually not to harm me. Like, that's not really something that I worry about. Although maybe because I worry about being taken to the hospital and then being harmed there, but I'm going to say disagree to this one. Sometimes I completely lack emotion, like I'm a robot. Yes, agree. This is something that I've been working on a lot. Even while medicated early on, I had a very, very flat affect. And that was something that I complained a lot to my doctor about, was that I didn't feel like I could feel the depth of emotion that I had been able to feel before being diagnosed and taking medication and all that. And so, yeah, the blunted affect is definitely something, while on medication, but also something that I experience while I'm off medication.
Can you answer that one like, yes, agree?
No.
Okay, so a little humor here. Affirmative.
Agree. Sometimes I believe that another person or thing can take charge of my mind or body. Not really that they can take charge of my mind or body, but more that they can implant thoughts or hear thoughts that I'm experiencing or that I'm having. So not really taking charge of my mind or body, but just the aspect of hearing my thoughts more so. So I'm going to say disagree to this one. Sometimes I am unable to tell whether something I'm seeing is real or whether I'm imagining it. Agree. For the most part, I'm able to differentiate between my visual hallucinations and what's real, but sometimes I can't, especially when I'm deep in psychosis. So I'm going to say agree to this one. I can tell what is going to happen before it happens. Board game. And other things too. So yeah, I would say strongly agree. Sometimes I believe that I am able to read minds or other people can read mine. Yes, strongly agree. Because I have experienced things mentioned in the previous questions, I have had trouble in my job, in my home life, or just taking care of myself. Strongly agree. I have previously had a diagnosis for a mental disorder, which may explain some of the things I have experienced in previous questions, or I believe I could have such a disorder. So I had no idea that I might have had schizophrenia before I was diagnosed, so I'm going to say disagree. Prescription medication, which I have been told may alter my behavior, drugs or alcohol may explain some of the things I've experienced in the previous questions. No, not really. I occasionally drank with friends or family, but never excessively and not very regularly, so I don't think, and no prescription meds or drugs are really, so I would say disagree. No, I would not like a copy of the results sent to my email. Skip. Your schizophrenia test results. Your result is high risk. Your results indicate that you are at high risk for schizophrenia. Okay, so I appreciate that again, they disclose this, that, these results do not mean that you have schizophrenia, but it may be time to start a conversation with a mental health professional. Finding the right treatment plan and working with a healthcare provider can help you manage your symptoms. So that's great. So basically what I said, so you can use these tests to kind of get a feel for if there are things that you should be bringing to your therapist or preferably doctor, but not to self-diagnose off of these tests. All right, so in today's video, we found out that I should definitely talk with my doctor about the possibility of having schizophrenia, which I have done, and I have been diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder. So I hope you found this video helpful in some way. If you want to see more videos from us, make sure to subscribe. And again, if you want to help with support the creation of these videos, make sure to check out the link to our Patreon page. Thank you so much again for watching, and as always, wishing you and your loved ones good health. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.